Marko here from Fair Realty, Victoria, BC. Today I'm going to talk about having difficult conversations with sellers in a tough market like we are in right now. My personal business has always excelled in tough markets. For example, this year has been one of the best years of my career. As of yesterday, with 2 properties, selling them up to 50 sold MLS properties on the year, plus a few off market, and I'm working through the due diligence period on 6 accepted offers right now. I had the luck of starting my career in the summer of 2010. Summer of 2010 was one of the slowest summers on record ever, and I was lucky enough to have 2 sales that summer. Things did not improve going forward. 2011, 12, 13, 14, all the way up until mid-2015, it was a very difficult market. Some of those years we had over 5,000 listings, very slow sales. That is all I knew for the first 5.5 years of my real estate career. In the last couple of videos on last couple of years on my YouTube channel, I've talked about unconditional offers, but for the first 5.5 years of my real estate career, I never saw an unconditional offer once. Why would I? There was over 5,000 listings. Why would someone write an unconditional offer when there's all this inventory and nothing is selling? The last 10 years have been a bit different. We've had a couple of crazy markets, and it doesn't take as much skill to list a property on a Thursday, take offers Monday night, have 10 offers, and then advise your seller on which offer to pick out of those 10. It takes a lot more skill in a tough market like it is right now to sell a property. And one of those skills is pricing correctly and having very difficult conversations with sellers. Recently, I've sold a number of condos and condo buildings where there's been a number of other listings and those listings haven't sold. And I attribute the success of my listing selling is correct pricing and having that difficult conversation with the seller in terms of coming up with the correct pricing. For example, last week I had a deal complete downtown, a 1-bedroom condo. It was my listing. We sold it for $470,000. I had helped my clients buy this condo maybe 9 years ago for $360,000. But at one point, this condo peaked at $575,000. And I had a difficult discussion with my clients. I told them, yeah, your condo did peak at $575,000 3 years ago. Today, it's worth this much. We priced it accordingly. We had to make an adjustment on that price, and we sold it for $470,000. While we had it on the market for $470,000 and no accepted offer at that time, another 1-bedroom building, a unit in the building got listed for $545,000. And I'm thinking, what kind of conversation is the listing agent having with his or her seller? There is an active 1-bedroom listing in the building asking $470,000, which had not sold at that time. We didn't even have an accepted offer. And you're listing for $545,000. Obviously, you're not having a difficult conversation with that seller. The seller's probably telling you, as the listing agent, well, I want at least $530,000. Let's list a bit higher to leave room for negotiation. The problem is that price is not in line with the market. So this year, I think part of the reason my business has excelled, and it's always excelled in really tough markets, is I'm able to explain to sellers, this is the true market value of the property. I know your expectations are way higher, but if you truly want to sell, this is where it has to be. And in the last couple of weeks, I'm not going to lie, I've also lost a lot of listings. I had a potential seller contact me and ask me, what I thought their place was worth. I said $499. Maybe we can try $519. This seller had paid $554,000 a few years ago, and they were not happy with the numbers I gave them. And those were the numbers that were required to sell in this market because they would be taking a substantial loss. And that unit showed up on MLS with a different agent a week later for $600,000. I don't think it has a strong chance at selling at $600,000. I had another seller ask me to actually bring over listing paperwork and sign it, but she wanted to list it at the price that was $50,000 more where I thought it should be listed, and I politely declined. And I said, listen, there are 1,600 other agents in Victoria. I'm sure you can find one that's willing to take it on at the asking price you want. But I don't want to spend the next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months trying to convince you to come down to a price where it might have a chance, and by then the market might have corrected further down. So part of being successful in a really difficult market right now is having those difficult expectations with sellers. Maybe they paid $550 for their condo, but now their condo is worth $475, and you have to tell them, listen, if you want to sell this, you have to take a huge loss. And I always tell people, you're more than welcome to continue renting it, continue living there. But if you want to sell it, realistically, it needs to be this number. And that is why I think a lot of places are sitting stale on the market is listing agents are simply not having those difficult conversations. And if you want to be successful as a real estate agent in this market, you have to be prepared to have those difficult conversations right now. That's it for this week. Marko, Juras, Fair Realty.